Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to confirm question number 63, that is indeed coming from the people of Zomwe Akambilana. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Zomwe Akambilana, Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good afternoon. Indeed, I have a question to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and let me thank you for allowing me to address it. Let me appreciate Honorable Member, my sister, who is representing the people of Zomwe Akambilana, who is asking my ministry to construct additional school blocks to accommodate the growing student population in the following schools: Mbindi Primary, Lomoni Primary, Kachulu Primary, but also to provide desks to ensure every student has a comfortable or conducive learning environment in order to reduce dropout rates. Madam Speaker, allow me to sincerely thank the Honourable Member once again for her pertinent question. My ministry, Madam Speaker, is aware that Mbindi, Lomoni, and Kachulu primary schools are in need of additional classroom blocks due to high classroom pupil ratios. Mbindi has an enrollment of 913 against 9 permanent classrooms, indicating a classroom pupil ratio of 1:101. Lomoni has an enrollment of 816 against 6 permanent classrooms, indicating a classroom pupil ratio of 1:136, and Kachulu has an enrollment of 1,072 against 6 permanent classrooms, indicating a classroom pupil ratio of 1:107. All these ratios are outside and beyond the acceptable classroom pupil ratio of 1:60, Madam Speaker. May I also update the Honourable Member that Kachulu Primary School benefited 2 classroom blocks, which equates to 4 classrooms from the Malawi Education Program we call MERP. My ministry will continue to lobby for more support to construct additional classroom blocks to support schools with high classroom pupil ratios, including the ones in the Honourable Member's constituency. May I request that the Honourable Member for Zomwe Akambilana also present these issues to Zomba District Council so that the other schools that we have not attended to could benefit from local development fund. Madam Speaker, my ministry is also aware that Mbindi, Lomoni, and Kachulu primary schools are in dire need of classroom desks, considering the given enrollments. Statistics show that in these schools, learners learn under very unfavorable and demotivating conditions without the needed desks. Madam Speaker, my ministry procures and supplies desks to schools every financial year. But the deficit is huge because there's a very big gap, and it's really challenging to meet the gap immediately. I'm positive that some of these schools will benefit from the 2024-25 financial year procurement of desks. May I request the Honourable Member to also present this issue to Zomba District Council, where some of the schools may benefit from the local development fund. I submit and thank you, Madam Speaker.
Much Honorable Minister of Education, Machinga North.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Madam Speaker, for recognizing the people of Machinga North East to ask a supplementary question to the Minister of Education. First of all, through you, Madam Speaker, let me thank her ministry that my constituency has benefited on the MEREP classrooms like Matope, Namasika, Nkawiliwita, Chiunda, Marundani, Nandembo, Kayuni, Nampina, and Nsakalu. My question will dwell on the last question on providing basics. The Minister, Thank you very much that you have added a lot of classes within my constituency. But the challenge is that in most of these schools, the one I've listed, literally there is no desks. Challenges comes when there is manual examinations. To see today students bringing tables and chairs from their homes. Would you please assist the schools I have mentioned in my constituency with desks, but also there is other schools where literally there is not even a single staff house, like Nsakalu, Nsuka, Kawina, Nampina, and Nkwakwata. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Madam Speaker, for allowing the people of Machinga Northeast to put up a question to the Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Machinga Northeast. Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to tackle a supplementary question from the people of Machinga Northeast. Also, I would also like to thank the representative from Machinga Northeast for that supplementary question to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. The Honorable Member would want to be considered for, I think the question is really for desks, but he started to acknowledge the assistance that his constituency, Machinga Northeast, has benefited. The Honorable Member did indicate that Machinga Northeast has benefited in more than 6 schools receiving classroom blocks in this administration, in the Chakwera administration, and that is really commendable. That shows that this administration is really walking the talk. The gap in infrastructure and in furniture is really glaring, Madam Speaker, but we are addressing those gaps. So thank you that you would acknowledge the fact that you've received a lot of blocks, the ones that are being constructed across the country, so that our children have conducive learning spaces. On the issue of desks, Madam Speaker, the one that he mentions, that is a challenge because in most schools where those desks are not available, the learners are having to maybe borrow furniture from home, or in other cases, I know from experience from other schools to write examination. That is an unfortunate issue, Madam Speaker. But it is what I'm saying, that we have a history of a big deficiency of this furniture, and which we are trying to cover, but it's not going, it's something that we may not cover immediately, to be honest. So let me just assure the Honorable Member that I've taken note of the request, but also just to share with the Honorable Member and the August House, like I did, I think in my past pronouncements, that I did visit a school in Kasungu North constituency, where the school has actually procured desks using school development fund. And this is something that I would also want to implore on honorable members to emulate, because we may not be able to attend to all the schools that need this desk, but I have taken note of the request. And I know that now that we've constructed these classroom blocks, we are also now seemingly bringing in some gaps, but we are also thankful that UNICEF is helping us in most of these schools to furnish them, and I'm hoping that the honorable member can also maybe benefit from UNICEF to have some of these blocks furnished. The honorable member also did mention of staff houses in some of the schools, i.e. Tawina and Impina. Indeed, this is a challenge, Madam Speaker. Just like most of our schools do not have the minimum infrastructure package that makes them, to be standard as a school. This is another challenge that we have in the Ministry of Education. I'm glad to report that we have a budget in the next financial year, which is going to start to address the shortage of teachers' houses under the Chakwera administration. But also, I just also want to say to the House that in some constituencies, I, for one, I know we are also trying to address the issue by and by in a little way, by using constituency development fund. I, for one, have constructed a lot of houses through community assistance for our teachers, because the gap there is also so huge. So government alone may not be able to address this issue immediately, but there are funds in the budget that will start addressing this issue, and we will consider the honorable member at the right time. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, Dowa Central, then Machinga East.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me space on a supplementary question to the Minister of Basic Education. But before I do that, Madam Speaker, let me thank you so much for reminding us that today is an International Happy Day. I know most of us were not aware, and we are going to make use of this day, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my supplementary is mainly focusing on the shortage of desks in many of our schools. This situation, Madam Speaker, has even affected the people of Lower Central, because most of our schools in Ponatu, Namwiri, Senga, Sidze, Chilima, Jakala, Kamwana, Diliro, and Mkamanga, most of these schools, learners, when sitting for their primary school leaving certificate of education, they sit on the floor. And the situation, Madam Speaker, is so big. Now my question is, as we are appreciating the construction of merit schools, which my constituency has also benefited, about 13 classroom blocks, I wanted to ask the Ministry of Education if it has ever considered developing a policy that when development partners are supporting construction of school blocks, they should also include the purchasing of desks in those school blocks, so that at least in a way we can try to avert the problem, because the ministry alone cannot manage to procure desks for all the schools. As a result, we may always end up giving our learners a raw deal, because the learning environment is not conducive in the absence of desks, mainly if we are indeed to achieve the promotion of the girl child to education. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me space.
Thank you, Dowa Central. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to take a supplementary question from the people of Dowa Central. And let me also appreciate the people of Dowa Central for their supplementary question, which hinges on the shortage of desks. The honorable member is really concerned with that in the constituency. In some of the schools that he mentioned, i.e. Chilima, Biriro, Kamwana, he mentioned a lot. There's a dire need for desks. Madam Speaker, when I took the question before this one, I already alluded to the fact that in the past administrations, I'm going to be honest, these things were not handled. And as there is, and the population has also grown a lot. And we have a huge deficit of desks, which we are trying to address. But Madam Speaker, let me go to also the way he posed the question, to ask if there is now a deliberate policy, now that we are constructing for the first time, now that government is constructing classroom blocks, and he has received 26 of those in his constituency, to have a policy also with partners where they can construct the blocks, but also provide desks. My answer to this question, Right Honorable Speaker, is that at the moment we are looking at the deficit of classrooms, because the need is dire. We also have development partners that are helping us with desks, but the policy is not going hand in hand. But as government, we are looking outside what we get from a procurement, which is not sufficient, but also what we get from partners outside, to develop a policy whereby we can start to address this issue of desks. I cannot divulge much now, Madam Speaker, because we're still at a concept, a level, or so at some point I'll be able to share this. But I know and I'm aware, and it saddens me that the issue of desk is a serious one. And this is why I even went further to say, where we can, using community development fund, which the president did increase substantially, we must also try to tackle this issue as opposed to just waiting for central government to procure. When I went to Kasungu North on Monday, I was told that they have managed now to furnish 4 or more classroom blocks using community development, using CDF plus school development fund to the tune of 12 million. Maybe sometimes we're thinking to buy those desks, it's so costly. Yes, it is costly, but there is a gentleman, i.e. in Kasungu, who is making this desk, which seats 2 students, at 60,000 kwacha per unit. And I think by and by, if we use these funds and maybe also go into the LDF, we can start addressing some of these furniture challenges in our constituencies. But Honorable Member for Lower Central, also be assured that your issue has been taken on board. And also, if you have ideas that you feel you can bring forward to the Ministry of Education on how best maybe we can innovatively resolve this glaring challenge, feel free to see me so that together we can plan as we are looking into a policy or a concept where we can innovatively mitigate the challenge of furniture in our schools. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Cholo Central is a point of order. Machinga East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. With due respect to the Honorable Minister, is it in order to really bring information in this House? A number of times she repeats to say the previous governments did not buy desks in schools. Without her giving figures of the school blocks they have constructed now, that includes furniture. Because if they have constructed classroom blocks, that doesn't include furniture. That does not speak to the policy that she's talking about. All the school classroom blocks that are being constructed now, even if she gives a number of 1,000, none of that is accompanied with furniture. Therefore, nothing is happening on the ground. The point is rapid population growth. As a result, there is huge demand for both classroom blocks as well as furniture. Than to politicize to say previous governments when there's nothing that they are doing on the ground. They are constructing classroom blocks without furniture itself, and then the next government will still come and say the previous government, meaning the MCP government, did not do it. Let's call this a spade a spade. Rapid population growth versus demand that we have, we cannot at the moment, and we must find other ways of putting furniture in classroom blocks. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Cholo Central. Machinga East.
Madam Speaker, first is to thank you for giving me the floor to ask a question to the Honorable Minister responsible for basic and secondary education. My question, Madam Speaker, is to do with the contract which was given to a contractor who does not have a capacity to construct a school block in my constituency under ECO's project. Since 2023, Madam, up to now, we are failing to utilize the facility because it's unfinished. When I tried to contact the contractor, he's saying that he doesn't have resources to finish the school block. So my question to the Honorable Minister is, in this circumstance that the ministry gave the contract to someone who does not have capacity to do the construction of a school block in my constituency, and now that he doesn't have resources to finish that school block, what will the ministry do to assist the people of my constituency so that the structure should be finished and our students should use it? The structure has been constructed at Nankuyu CDSS, and I'm tempted to say the contractor was given just because he is a MCP sympathizer. Yes, he's a former member of Parliament for MCP. If you want me to talk about that, I'll talk about that. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Machinga East. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to take a supplementary question from the people of Machinga East. And let me thank you, Honorable Member for Machinga East, for your question to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. The issue, Madam Speaker, is to do with a contract that is not performing. We have some contracts indeed in the ministry that are not performing, and it's unfortunate that sometimes these contractors who bring evidence, some sort of evidence on paper that shows that their performance, and in other instances they would have performed, and we tend to use the history or the trends. It's unfortunate that this one is, like I said, that an unperforming one, and unfortunately I do not have much information on this contractor, but to say that it's unfortunate that most of the actually indigenous contractors would be the ones that fall under this category when we actually want to promote their businesses. Suffice to say, Madam Speaker, that most of the contracts that are not performing, we have gone through the Attorney General's office to get advice. Some of them are going to be cancelled so that we start again and continue with the works, and that's, I think, what I can say about now, and I'll get more information from the Honourable Member later so that I can actually zero in on the specifics of this particular contract in Machinga East constituency. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very much, Honourable Minister. We now go to question 79, Nkatabe West.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, indeed, that question 79, is coming from people of Nkatabe West, to be specific, Kabunduli TA. Thank you.
Nkatabe West, Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I would like to thank the Honourable Member of Parliament for Nkatabe West for his question, as well as yourself for allowing me to take the question to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to finish the construction of a laboratory block at Chiteka Community Day Secondary School that commenced 7 years ago but was abandoned by the contractor. Madam Speaker, as I consistently highlighted, it is the policy of my ministry to ensure that every school is equipped with a minimum essential education infrastructure package, which includes laboratory block, library, ICT block, administration block, and teachers' houses, among other facilities, which most of schools do not have. That is why we have embarked on the upgrading of many schools, including Chiteka Community Day Secondary School, to enhance the quality of teaching and learning. Right Honourable Speaker, allow me at this juncture to inform the August House that construction works for a science laboratory library block at Chiteka Community Day Secondary School commenced in the year 2018, but stalled in 2019. The contractor had requested an increase in the contract price then, which has not been approved to date. Madam Speaker, I would like to bring to the Honourable Member's attention, as well as to the entire House, that since the project began in the year 2018, there has been a significant rise in the cost of construction materials. With this background, approving a price adjustment at this point would not be in government's best interest. As such, my ministry sought advice from the Attorney General's office regarding the termination of the contract and the possibility of retendering the remaining works. I'm pleased to report that the termination process is currently underway and the works will be retendered once all necessary procedures are completed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister. Honourable Member for Mangochi South and Mangochi West.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Mangochi Southwest an opportunity to ask a supplementary question on a policy matter to the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in this country. Considering that in particularly my constituency, we have had problems to do with affordability of school fees, to the extent that we have a situation where out of, I would say maybe 4%, 5% of the people that finish primary school would proceed to go to secondary school. Even as they finish secondary school, the attrition rate is very high, to the extent that you normally get a few numbers. I wish I could give you exact figures, but particularly this affects the girl child, to the extent that we don't have many students, girl students, that would finish secondary school and go to the university. What would be the policy of the ministry under this government as regards free education, free secondary education, to ensure that students, particularly in my constituency, for Tumu Secondary School, Chilipa Secondary School, Takumana Secondary School, as well as Tsunami Secondary School, those people around these secondary schools and the students that are there can be assured of completion of their studies and eventually be going to secondary school. The CDF, yes, we have used it, but it is not enough. We have a lot of balances, and even as we speak, some of the secondary school head teachers do actually send our students back home, and we struggle to actually send them back. So what is the policy of the ministry, particularly also of your government, regarding making secondary education free, so that and this is in accordance with the Declaration on Free Education and also the Constitution of Malawi, where I've said that we needed to provide free education to our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Mangochi South West. Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And let me also thank people of Mangochi West, Southwest, through their representative for a question to the Ministry of Education, which is a policy question in nature, and it is to do with the need for free secondary education. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member did allude to the fact that he doesn't have the evidence as in the exact figures of the learners that do not proceed to secondary education because of lack of school fees. So he's concerned, and this is touching mostly on girls not attaining their full education because they lack school fees. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of education is a right, but that right has also some responsibilities in a way. I just wanted to give some sort of a background to what has happened with free primary education, Madam Speaker. You see, as a country, we made primary education free in 1994. We have managed to get the big enrollments, a lot of learners in school. But that also, in turn, as much as it's been good, has also weakened the quality of education. And I just want to say that in as much as I, as a person, and I know as a government, would want to make sure that every child that's deserving is going to secondary school, as government, I don't think, and I'm answering mostly on from me, I don't think we have the resources if we are failing to even address some issues in the primary subsector, even in the secondary subsector, when fees is being paid, that we have the capacity to do that. But, and this is a government-wide, this would have to be a government-wide policy, not just the Ministry of Education, because we would have to get the right resources commensurate with making sure that the fees are free. I'm sure that the government of Chakwera and MCP, if they have the resources and that time is there, and they can provide free primary school, the same is going to be done. But for now, we seriously cannot, because there are so many competing needs, not just in education, basic, secondary, even in kindergarten, or I would say early learning and university. We do not have those resources, and that's just education alone. If we go to agriculture, there are gaps there, the need for resources there. If we go to water, to health, there's need for resources there. The needs are competing, but it is a good question, and I know it's coming from a good heart, because I would also want to provide free secondary education to the learners of Malawi, so that they can get at least a minimum of 12 years for those that cannot even move on to university. But that stands to be something that as a country we can look into and together to find solutions for. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I've seen Leader of Opposition, you wanted to ask a question? Because I had already recognized Mangochi West. You want to ask a question? Okay, that will do. Well, I think that can only be done after we finish question time. Thank you. Mangochi West.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to the people of Mangochi West to ask a supplementary question to the Minister of Basic Education and Secondary Education. Through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to ask the Honorable Minister that due to the high demand of laboratories in our community-based secondary schools, can her ministry consider of coming up with an online laboratory application which can be installed in smartphones so that our students can access the services at their comfort homes? This would try to reduce the needs of laboratories in our secondary schools. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Madam.
Thank you, Mangochi West. Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to take a very pertinent supplementary question from the people of Mangochi West. And let me also ask Honorable Member who's representing the people of Mangochi West for the supplementary question. And the question is to my ministry. Really, he's talking about there's a high demand of science laboratories, and he is of the view if we have an application that can address the need for physical laboratories, we would mitigate the problems that arises from lack of having the laboratories. And Madam Speaker, this is a very good question. Actually, I'm tempted to say that the Honorable Member has actually had a conversation with me on this application, and I think either himself or he knows someone who actually has an application for laboratories. But just to say quickly, Madam Speaker, that I'm actually very happy and pleased to announce to the House, but also to the Honorable Member, that in the Ministry of Education through Mzuzu University, we have actually come up with an application called My Lab. And this one is being tested, and I think it's at an advanced level that any time we're actually going to roll it out and launch it in our secondary schools. So this is already at an advanced level, and soon we are actually indeed going to have these applications that are going to mitigate the problems that arise from not having science laboratories in our countries. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Chiradzulu South. Yeah, well, you were requesting to.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Chiradzulu South to ask a supplementary question. The Minister is not listening. Chiradzulu South, we want to ask a supplementary question with regard to the strategy that the Ministry has put in place, or the measures that has put in place for the teachers that were promoted, which is good, but as we speak now, their salaries have not changed, so they have not benefited I have teachers at Masuku or Chikanguru Primary School in my constituency. I have teachers in almost, I think maybe half of the primary school. in Chirazo, no, it's in the Chirazo South that were promoted, but they have not yet benefited. So I want to find out from the minister, what have we put in place to ensure that these people that were promoted, they are able to benefit from the promotion. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I also wanted to find out the ministry on our side on the issue of teachers that have retired. Some of them we're talking about 3-4 years. Actually, as I speak now, they are beggars. They cannot afford to have food on their table. They are not able even to pay school fees for their children. As we speak now, they are suffering. So can the ministry be advised, the August House, what's the measures, what have we put in place as a ministry to ensure that these people that have done a good job, that are training our children, some of them have even trained members of parliament that are here, that also they need to be able to at least a decent. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Sorry, Honorable Member for Chiradzulu South.
I thought
Honorable
you were
Minister
prophesizing some
of Education.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Let me also thank Honorable Member for Chiradzulu South for his question. He's asking if we have a strategy in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for teachers that were promoted, but they are not yet to benefit. I would like to believe that you are talking of maybe not being on the new salary, because I'm not too sure what you mean by benefiting. I would like to think you mean the salaries. So in my assumption, Right Honorable Speaker, I would want to say after the teachers receive a promotion, it depends on the time, from the time they've received a promotion for either the council or the ministry to have to actually process the new grade so that they can be on the new salary. And I'm aware that there are, in some instances, I think problems that were experienced through the council, because in our primary schools, we have devolved the functions of the same through the council, where if there are challenges with data, some teachers would not have been receiving their new salaries in a timely manner. But the assurance, although this is not a good thing, is the fact that the arrears still accrue. So it's not like if you're not receiving the new salary now and then 3 months down the line and then you're missing out on the benefit, the arrears accrue. But this is something, it's a serious issue that really needs to be looked into to make sure that once teachers are promoted, they get the pay for the new grade in at least a reasonable amount of period. And I would want to get the specifics, Honorable Member for Chiradzulu South, just to make sure that we zero in into the issue, because as it is as a general issue, I may not really have much to address the issue on. And on the second issue, coming from Chiradzulu South again, it's an issue, I guess it's a concern that teachers sometimes retire and they do not get their benefits in time. The same issue, I think it's something that applies across the board in the civil service. And this is an issue that we have been working tirelessly with the Minister of Finance to make sure that we clear the backlog that was there for civil servants that have retired so that they get their dues in a timely and acceptable manner. But I'll also go back to Ministry of Finance just to make sure that we are on track, because I know we even had a paper that is trying to address this through the Ministry of Finance to make sure that all civil servants are paid their dues on time and do not have to wait for years before they do so. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We go to question 80, Balaka South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to confirm that question 80 indeed is coming from the people of Balaka South, especially Tienkai. Thank you, Madam.
Balaka South, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And let me also thank my sister, representative for the people of Balaka South for her question to the Ministry of the Basic and Secondary Education, which is to consider constructing a community secondary school at Nkaya. Learners around this area walk long distances to Utale Community Day Secondary School, and the roads become almost impassable during rainy seasons. Madam Speaker, let me begin by agreeing with the Honourable Member on the need for a Community Day Secondary School at Nkaya, as this will assist in reducing distance students travel to access secondary education at Utale Community Day Secondary School. Learners selected from Maduwani, Mute, Mbaza, as well as Chikubwa primary schools travel over 17 kilometers in order to access secondary education at Utale CDSS. As I have always said this is against my ministry's policy on distance students have to walk to and from school. In addition, such long distances expose learners, particularly girls, to a number of risks, such as abuse, exhaustion, and other dangers. Madam Speaker, I also concur with the Honourable Member that apart from the long distances, the roads in the area do indeed become impassable, almost impassable, once the rainy season begins. Furthermore, crossing Rivi River becomes almost impossible towards the end of Term 1 and during Term 2. Given this background, constructing a school at Nkaya would be a practical solution. Madam Speaker, if the school is constructed, the Community Day Secondary School will be fed by 4 feeder primary schools, namely Maduwani, Mote, Mbaza, and Chikubwa, thereby increasing access to secondary education in the area. However, Madam Speaker, my ministry has no immediate plans to construct a secondary school in the area for reasons. In addition, the Honourable Member's area recently benefited 2 schools from the pilot phase of the Secondary Education Expansion for Development SEED project, Njerenje and Mabu Community Day Secondary Schools. Having said this, Madam Speaker, let me request the Honourable Member to consider lobbying financial support from Balaka District Council through the Local Development Fund, LDF, or the governance to enable Service Delivery Project JESSED. My ministry, through the Southeast Education Division SEED, will provide technical support as regards designs and other aspects of the project. Madam Speaker, let me assure the Honourable Member that her request has been noted for future consideration. Thank you.
Very much. Honourable Member for Lower West, Mcheubanje, and then Mcheubanje.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for recognizing the people of Lower West to raise a supplementary question. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to find out through you from the Honourable Minister of Education whether within the ministry there is a deliberate policy to construct fully fledged conventional secondary schools in areas where we don't have any. Madam Speaker, Lower West is the only constituency that does not have a type of secondary school that we can see at Madisi, we can see at Likuni or Lilongwe Girls. We need one, Madam Speaker. We have areas like Simbi, Samuel, and indeed including Mlengwe. They were earmarked for a similar project, but up to now we did not have any tangible response in terms of proper action to be taken so that we can start constructing these secondary schools. We already allocated land for the projects, and the minister is also aware that the feasibility study team visited these sites, but a report was produced. We were just waiting for the past 6 months. I thought we could consider either construct a secondary school at Mlengwe, somewhere, or Simbi. These are very, very strategic areas, Madam Speaker, within the constituency. And at one point, even the Honourable Minister had an opportunity to visit one of the sites where we conducted a development meeting with her, and I think she is aware that my group village headmen, especially group village headmen from Samuel, Simbi, and Mantimba. They are waiting for a response as they are within the chamber. They want to listen themselves direct from the Honorable Minister. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to take a supplementary question from the people of Doha West. And let me also thank the Honorable Member, Afumu wawo alikonkono, afuna mvere oka, zimene akhala akupempha kwanthu namaphunziro. Madam Speaker, Honorable Member of Doha West wishes to find out if there's a ministry, if there's a policy in the ministry for construction of fully fledged, what he calls construction of fully fledged conventional secondary schools. And he claims, that's a claim according to me, that Doha West is the only constituency without it. That is only a claim, Honorable Member, because also in my constituency as well, there's no conventional secondary, what you call conventional secondary school. So what happens here is that back in the day, the secondary schools used to be demarcated for whatever reasons, Right Honorable Speaker. What we are trying to do to increase access to quality education now is to make sure that all the schools that are there, be it CDSS or whatever, is brought to the level of what is a conventional secondary school. The enhancements that we are doing in the community-based secondary schools through improving secondary education, through Equals Project, is a project that we've embarked on as a Ministry of Education through the government to make sure that all learners across the country get the same quality, get the same learning, get the same infrastructure, everything that goes into education that makes it meaningful, that gives it the quality. So what we are trying to do is now moving away from what's called conventional secondary schools, but to have secondary schools across the country, even in the rural, where their standards by and by are going to be enhanced, are going to be improved, are going to be made to the level of a regular secondary school. I just want to give an example of a community-day secondary school that I visited last week in up north, where just a community-day secondary school is able to send over 31 students to public university, just because they have some of the things that a regular secondary school has, meaning even a community-day secondary school has the capacity to do well, to improve performance, as long as they have enough teachers, enough infrastructure, everything that a conventional school has. So what we are doing now, Honorable Member, is to improve the community-day secondary schools, whatever secondary school, you name it, that's there, to make sure that it's at the level of a conventional secondary school. That way, we are also going to be equitable in distributing education across the country. And Honorable Member did go on to say that through the SEED project, they had been promised by the ministry that some places like Mlengwe, Samuel, or Simbi, which are very important, would indeed benefit from the SEED project. It's unfortunate that, Right Honorable Member, that some of these places did not benefit, just like it is in many constituencies, because the project did not live to the tune of the figure of the secondary schools that well indicated. What we are working on in the ministry, Right Honorable Speaker, is to ensure that through our development partners, through the ministry itself, with the resources that we have, we must first of all look at the areas that were denied this opportunity, so that with the opportunities that are there, we can start addressing these issues. We can go there first before we can actually go to other areas, because these places were denied not by their doing, but they were when the project was cut off prematurely. These areas did not benefit. So I would want to believe, and I would want to recommit and just to assure Honorable Member that in good time, and I hope soon enough, we will attend to them and do provide the secondary schools that they have not managed to benefit from the SEED project. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Q Ncheubanje. Is it Ncheubanje South?
Ncheubanje South.
South, yes, Ncheubanje South.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for recognizing the people of Ncheubanje South to ask a supplementary question to the Minister. Is the Minister aware that there are some teachers, after attending higher education, for example, from certificate to diploma, even for diploma to a certificate, they can work for so many years without being promoted and even being given new salaries despite working for more than 10 years. This sounds to be very peculiar, inquisitive, and agamanga. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Ncheu Banje South, Honorable Minister of Education. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to take a supplementary question from the people of Banje South, of Ncheu Banje South, and also to appreciate the member for Ncheu Banje South for his supplementary question to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education on teachers who, after obtaining other qualifications, maybe a teacher that only had a certificate and they've upgraded to a degree level, will still remain on the same grade. Right Honorable Speaker, let me just begin by saying that it is good and very important that in everyone's career journey, they must always aim to grow, to develop themselves in civil service or in corporate world. But also just to say, the mere fact that someone has upgraded their qualifications does not automatically mean that somebody is going to get promoted or a new grade. Getting promoted requires that there should be spaces and there should be whatever it is that will mean someone can actually get promoted. But it is in the best of the government, it's in the best of my interests that the teachers that are actually working hard and making sure that they get promoted should be the ones that, now that we are going to be promoting a lot of teachers, also be considered first. But just to say that it's not always automatic that somebody gets new qualifications and they will be upgraded. But when the time promotions come, not to make a promise, we'll look at all these. These are some of the valuables that we are going to look into, including interviews, which are going to be meritorious, to make sure that teachers are promoted in the right manner, not just promoting willy-nilly. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I saw Commissioner Palombe. Are you saying, yeah, Palombe? Is it Palombe? Palombe South and Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for according Palombe South to ask a supplementary question to the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. My dearest Minister, I wanted to remind you about the promises that government, through the Speaker, the promise that you made with the people of Palombe. Palombe as a district and Palombe South in particular, about the state-of-the-art secondary school. I don't know where we are. I don't know what to tell the people of Palombe, especially Group Village in Namangale in TA Namasoko, who gave his 10-hectare land free of charge for 5 years now. They haven't been cultivating on that land. It is reserved for School of Excellency. Could you please today come up with a concrete response to this so that I can take that message to the people of Palombe South, particularly TA Namasoko and Group Village Namangale. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Member for Palombe South, Honorable Minister of Education. Oh, there's a point of order. Yes, Chisi South.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Today being a private member's day, I would like to make a motion that we curtail question time in order to allow members who actually ask the questions on under Standing Order 69 in order for them to ask the questions. We have leader of opposition and...
It's 14 and 69, so I think if it's the leader of opposition, it was 14.
Yeah.
Standing order 14.
Standing order 14, but question 69, is it? Yeah, standing order 14, so that they actually should be given responses by the responsible ministers. After that, we will have, as private members, we have exhausted what we had today, then we'll have an early adjournment. I submit, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know there's a motion on the floor, but I had already recognized the Honorable Minister to respond to the question that was already on the floor. So immediately after the Minister's response, I'll give you space. We'll do the motion. Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to take, I think, what's going to be the last supplementary question for today, coming from the people of Palombe South, my dear mother, Commissioner, who wishes to remind me, although I don't need a reminder, because this thing is in the back of my mind, but she wishes to remind me, on behalf of the people of Tie Namasoko, Group Village Headman Namangale, where the group, the village headman allocated 10 hectares of land, and it's been just being there reserved for a school of excellence, which is a state-of-art secondary school. And she wishes to find out from my minister when she's going to have this secondary education, or when the people of Palombe South will benefit from this. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a very good question, and I appreciate you, Commissioner, for asking it. Just to say that I do not have the actual date as to when the project will commence, but that all the assessments that were supposed to be done have been done, I'm told, and soon, once the resources are found for this state-of-the-art schools of excellence in Palombe South, you will see us coming to Palombe. And let me, in a special way, appreciate Amfumu, Atie Namasiku, and Group Village Namangale for reserving and still having the patience to keep the 10 hectares for the schools of excellence. So please, when you go back, let them know that they should be patient, keep reserving the space. In good time, we shall be on site to start construction of the schools of excellence. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member for Machinga East, I have to give you the floor after, because we have a motion on the floor. So, sorry? It's a point of order, yes, but there's remember there's a motion and I can't give you more space if there's a motion on the floor. It's just because, no, I had already made a decision to ask the Honorable Minister to respond to the question, but we have got a motion on the floor. So I'll give you space after we have disposed of the motion. Honorable members, I now put the question. The question is that we waive all relevant standing orders in order for us to curtail questions to ministers for oral reply and go to questions under standing order 14. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary view say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Machinga East.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I am standing on a point of order, Madam Speaker. The point of order has been generated from the response from the Honorable Minister to the Honorable Member for Palombe, who was asking about the School of Excellence in her constituency. And when responding, the Honorable Minister indicated...
But that would be unprocedural, Honorable.
No. My point of order, Madam, is coming from where the Minister indicated that when resources are available. So we wanted to know resources available from government or from partners, because if it is to do with the government, then we are discussing about the budget, then we have to allocate resources for the said project. That's where the point of order is coming from, because the Minister was not clear whether the resources will be coming from development partners.
And understood, Honorable Member, but I think it is unprocedural for us go back to that, because immediately after her response, yes, I know you had the right to ask a supplementary question on the matter, but now we can't go back to the business of the questions at this point. So I'm sure the minister has taken note. At an appropriate time, I'll ask the Honorable Minister, when she's responding to other questions, she bears in mind.
Osaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV Malawi.